Hello and welcome to 100 Yards of Football Sports Talk Radio. I almost said I'm the host. I am kind of the host, but I am the producer, Jeremiah Long. And joining me today to talk about the five most important Georgia Bulldog players in this college football season is Mr. Logan Landers. How's it going, bro?
Hey, what's up, Jeremiah? Talking some Bulldogs today, man. We just got done in a great game preview, even. So, I'm ready to get the Georgia Bulldog season underway. Happy to talk about their five key players coming into this year. It's going to be a good one.
It is definitely going to be a good one. And so without further ado, as I said, I am the producer. Our host is Mr. Logan Landers. Well, Mr. Logan Landers, tell us, who are the top five most important players coming into the UGA program this year? What are they going to do? And what do we have to look forward to over in Bulldog Nation?
All right, so my top five list, and this is in no way of ranking these players. If you're five, that doesn't mean you're a bad player. Let me just get it out the way first and foremost for anyone watching out there. So my number five spot, I have the linebacker, Adam Anderson, who had a great season last year. I try to get a good mix of offense and defense here on this for my list. So I think that starting off with a good defensive player with Anderson is a great way to go. Like I said, he had 6.5 sacks last season. He looks like he's going to be the top pass rusher this year for the Dogs. So I think that he is going to be good to see. I think Jay, he could even get past that 10 sacks a season mark this year. He showed it last year in a all SEC schedule. I think that if he's now they're going up against some other teams now, I think that Anderson's really going to thrive and he's going to have a good 2021 season, getting some sacks and getting a lot of tackles as well. I think that he's going to be a great pick-me-up. He's going to be there whenever you need a clutch stop. And, for someone who had, almost 7 sacks last year, I definitely think he's going to get over 10. I think that he's going to be good, and you can really plug him anywhere you need to on the defense, and he is going to thrive whenever you need him to be. For my number 4, I'm going to go with a wide receiver, and it might not be the one that Georgia fans are thinking of. I did not have George Pickens on my list only because he's out with an ACL injury for the majority of this season. You don't know when he's going to come back, so I cannot put him on my list because he's not playing. So I put the best one after Mr. Pickens, and I put Jermaine Burton, the wide receiver. Burton's a speedy wide receiver, man. He's great. He's got a lot of great intangibles. Even though he did have a hyperextended knee, that's not nothing too serious for me. I think he'll be fine. He had 8 catches for 197 yards in a game last year. So I think that he's going to be fine. I think that paired with the quarterback, who will be mentioned a little bit later, just a little bit of a spoiler, I think that they're going to have a great season. I think that Burton is really going to take that next big step in being a solid backup and being a solid wide receiver for the Dogs this year. I think he's going to be doing a lot of work, getting a lot of catches, getting some touchdowns as well. So I'm ready to see what this young man's going to do. And I think that he's going to have a bigger role and a better role for UGA in 2021. For my number 3 player, I'm going to go with the offensive line because you got to protect your quarterback. You got to give holes for your running back. I'm going to go with the left tackle, Jamari Sallier. So I think that you got to have a great offensive line, and Georgia's got a good group of guys who are going to be doing this as well. I got to go with Jamari, man. He's already probably going to be a better run, just a great player. And I think that even though at the left tackle it's not the best position, it's not the most glamorous position. There's not hardly any stats or anything, but you got to have him. And I think that he could be, all the guys I'm about to mention, top 3 and up, these are guys you could mention in like top 20 SEC rankings, let alone just with the Georgia Bulldogs. So I think that, he's going to have a good year. He showed why he was a 5-star prospect at that left tackle position. And I think that he's going to be just an absolute tank on that offensive line, protecting the quarterback and getting holes for his running back throughout the entire season. I think Jamari's going to have a great year, and it's going to open up a lot of opportunities for the Georgia Bulldogs offense. All right, number 2, I'm going to go with the defensive tackle, Jordan Davis. I think Jordan Davis is primed to have a tremendous 2021. Some might say, Jeremiah, he's the best run defender in the entire, not just SEC, but in the entire NCAA. So there's that to think about. So I had to put him on my list because he is just an absolute wrecking ball when it comes to getting to the running back, a big defensive tackle. He's the main reason why Georgia had the best rushing defense in the last few seasons. And I think that he is going to have a bigger role. And I expect him, if he could take a big step this year, because he did only have just one sack. I think that if he can come into 2021 and maybe just get five sacks and continue to dominate with that tremendous run defense, then I think that Jordan Davis is really going to be a standout player for this Georgia Bulldog system. I think he's going to put in a lot of work, and I'm expecting a lot of things from the big 6'6", 330-pound big man. I think he's going to be tremendous, and I think he's really going to take a big step this year. That's why I have him at number 2 on my list. But number 1, and kind of not surprised, but you got to put your quarterback, I'm pretty sure. And I got to go with my guy, JT Daniels. We've talked about him a lot on the show before, and I think that, last year was a crazy year for the Georgia Bulldogs at quarterback. You had Stetson Bennett filling for some games who, a lot of people didn't even know who's on the depth chart. And, you saw JT Daniels come in the last few games, and he looked great. I think that now with the season and the team finally we've been waiting to say that for a while now, that he is going to have a great season. Just what he did last year, he threw 10 touchdowns. He went 80 of 119. That's good for 67% of the completion percentage. And I think he's finally ready to get this Georgia Bulldogs team into, keep that great winning record, get them some clutch wins, and finally show why he is, why he's been coveted as a great quarterback for all of these years. I think that it's finally his team now. And after, kind of overcoming some stuff when he left USC back in his early days, he transferred over to Georgia, just had an injury bug, couldn't get on the field for whatever reason. And now it's finally time to see what this guy can do. I think he's going to have a great, tremendous 2021 season. I'm expecting 30-plus touchdowns maybe. I'm expecting a lot of yards to be thrown. And I think that the Bulldogs are finally going to have, a tremendous quarterback this season. They don't have to worry about who's going to be starting in and out. I think it's going to be good to have JT Daniels in your 2021 lineup. And I think he is definitely the most important player for this Georgia Bulldogs system to get them a bunch of wins in 2021, because I think it's going to be a good season for him. But it all depends on what the quarterback does. And I think JT Daniels is going to thrive this season.
Sorry, I ended up like, oh yeah, like JT Daniels. Yeah, we spoke about him many times on the show, and absolutely just a powerhouse. And like, he's going to come into the season strong. He's going to come in hot. And, out of those top 5 players, I really feel like you've got a team that can go and come back immediately and can compete on that highest level. Like, it was pretty much a heartbreaker last year with Alabama. But, let's make it a heartbreaker for them this year. That's what I'm saying. Let's make Alabama walk off that field, or, I'm not sure if it's a home game or an away game this year with Alabama. But, when that happens, let's have them walk off the field and go, what just happened? How did the Georgia Bulldogs come into this? We knew they were going to be a competitor, but how did they edge us out? That's what we'd love to see. And these 5 players could be that key to making that happen. Well, everybody who's watching, tell us what you think. Do you think that the Georgia Bulldogs' top 5 players are the same that we presented? Or are there some other players that we should definitely keep our eye on because they might just shake up the tree and get this Georgia Bulldog team to that highest level, to that national championship? So tell us, please, in the comments, who do you think are the top players for the Georgia Bulldogs? And also tell us what games you are most excited to see coming up soon. Well, if you're listening to us, if you're watching us now on Facebook or YouTube or Twitch, have us in your background, get the video going. You're watching us live or you're watching us on replay. Thank you so much. All the shares that you've been doing, sharing to your friends and family, telling people about 100 yards of football, sharing us into Facebook groups. That has been so huge and instrumental in us growing so much in the last year. And if you're listening to our podcast, thank you so, so much. Our podcast is growing so quickly. But if you're not, jump over and listen to us. 100 Yards of Football. You can listen to us over on Spotify. Just pull your Spotify open and you can grab us, 100 Yards of Football, or over on Apple Podcasts. We're the same, 100 Yards of Football, or anywhere that you listen to podcasts. You can just look up 100 Yards of Football. You'll see our green icon there with the football on the 50-yard line. We're brought to you by the Believe Podcast Network, which has been amazing partners in helping us get everything going, keeping things moving, helping us promote our stuff, and just keeping us moving, within the podcast world. So we're so thankful for that. And if you love listening to podcasts in general, not even football podcasts, you're going to love our podcast. Yes, we do a lot of game previews. We do a lot of team previews, but we also do history videos and interviews with legendary players. So even if you're not the hugest football fan, we have incredible amounts of knowledge and just incredible people that get to cross our stage and that we get to meet with. Plus, we have just an incredible team with two-time All-American Bobby Butler. He was one of the number one round draft picks in 1981, number 23 overall with the Atlanta Falcons. And we have our original host, the guy who started it all, Vincent, Mr. Football Turner. He's a football encyclopedia of knowledge. He hosts all of our history specials. And this is a guy that can tell you what color shirt he was wearing on what day of the week when he saw the Bears win it all. So that's just a great thing to listen to, and just the in-depth amount of knowledge that all of our hosts, including our host, Mr. Logan Landers, presents every week. It's one of the reasons that our show, 100 Yards of Football, has been able to thrive and grow so successfully over the last year and a half to 2 years that we've been mainly focusing on being a video-based product. For the 10 years before that, by the way, a little trivia, Mr. Vincent Turner had started off between AM and FM radio, and then we started moving, about 3 years ago total into videos. And then now that we have the podcast and the videos, we have just been meeting you everywhere that you love to listen to football information. And that has been something we've been so thankful to keep doing with you every single week on multiple videos. So thank you again. And thank you for everybody watching. This is 100 Yards of Football, Sports Talk Radio. I'm the producer, Jeremiah Long, and you've been looking at our preview of the top 5 players for the Georgia Bulldogs this season with Mr. Logan Landers. We'll be right back with another live video.